Hello, my name is John Sveck. Welcome to the ALL24 SHOW. Today, Coach Waterman and I have a special guest in Jim Mullin, who joined us. So, how did you like the conversation with Jim Mullin there, Coach Waterman?
Well, Jim's an interesting guy. He's got so much history in sports in general, multi-sport coverage as a broadcaster and writer, and obviously with a heavy focus on football right now. It was great talking football with Jim, and I know he's as the head of Football Canada president. He's really being a big part of that driving force to try to improve and grow the game, and so it was great to have a chance to talk to him about some of the things that they're doing with Football Canada and some of the things that are important in our sport.
Yeah, the timing was great. I mean, Football Canada just came out with their 5-year strategic plan, so we had that to work off of, and just kind of talk to Jim about ways to grow the sport that we all love, the sport of football. So hope you enjoy. All right, well, thank you so much for being with us, Jim. I really appreciate your time and really looking forward to chatting with you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Gary. I really appreciate what you guys have achieved through this podcast. We were joking before we started this up that we got all this energy towards the game, and we're looking for ways to direct it. And this is a great way to direct it in terms of generating a resource where we get to have conversations about the game, look outside of the box, and also break down some technical elements. So it's very much appreciated from Football Canada perspective what you guys are doing here.
Oh, we were looking forward to having you on, Jim. So we're happy to have you on, and it's just timely right now with what's going on and what you guys are doing at Football Canada.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been a situation with Football Canada where, usually at this time of year, we're just coming out of the tail end of our event season. We'd be running our flag events right now. We had 13 scheduled events through the summer season, and we managed to have a big fat 0 events through the summer season because of COVID-19. But that doesn't mean that we haven't been working nearly every day on the challenges that are associated with return to football. With the strategic plan that was wrapped up last month. We just made an announcement about it this past week. We did a major revision of the bylaws, which allows us to bring in other partners as associate members. The Canadian Football League has just signed on to be an actual associate member of Football Canada. I think the relationship between us and the Canadian Football League right now is probably at an all-time high. Between the two organizations, and that goes back to 1958. So we're trying to in the same direction as we go through these challenges. I'd like to find a path for the CJFL to join on as a national partner, and I know they're working on that. Of course, a couple of days ago they announced that they're canceling their season, and it's probably the wisest move. And then we've sent communication to U Sports. Now, U Sports generally doesn't join any NSO organization. But, given the challenges that we have in front of us in terms of football, in terms of thinking sports specifically, and in terms from U Sports, we have an opportunity here to share resources, to share our committee structure, to share our event planning, all kinds of resources that they don't need to reinvent. And I think it's important to bring the coaches around U Sports, the administrators around U Sport into a discussion with people who are involved in the rest of the sport. And I've always imagined that Football Canada is a crossroads for that kind of communication. Where we can meet in venues like this, whether it's a Zoom venue or when we get to meeting back face to face again, where we can when we get together face to face, we address our commonalities. When we sit in our silos, we think about our differences. So as we take more opportunities to bring people together in this sport, I think that's where we create forward.
And getting back to the strategic plan a little bit, interested in the mission statement. I thought it was very well put, and it just reads, the mission is to grow the sport that we love through leadership, promotion, and development. So I think it's succinct and well put. And I'm just wondering, sort of in your own words, how do we grow the sport? What are some thoughts when it comes to how we get that done?
Well, I think the starting point is having conversations like this. Like the one thing that I've noted over 20 years in football is how siloed the conversations are, and I think levels of cooperation are important in terms of growth. Not competing with each other where we don't need to compete, finding ways to work with each other instead of competition is a big marker for us. Working in the same direction is a big marker for us. Some of the programming that we have in place, that gets down to the next level in terms of growing the sport, and the next level is the PSO. It's incumbent upon the various provincial organizations to take this core programming, which has been recognized outside of our borders, and find a way to activate it to its maximum. I know there are a lot of traditional coaches out there who do not like the LTAD because it's a structured program. But here's the thing that I'll tell you about the LTAD. You get a lot of feedback on underdeveloped skill sets for athletes that come into programs. But one thing the LTAD does is it creates a basis, whether you are playing flag or you are playing contact from an early age. What that does is then as you build as an athlete, if you cross over to contact football, you have a good base of skills to start from. One of the arguments I always hear when it comes to football in Canada is that kids don't get enough reps in at a young enough age. If they are building on that same two-rail path and an LTAD that allows them to cross over, they are building up base skills. Remember, we're in an era right now where we get kids in grade 3 that don't know how to throw a baseball because we're in a challenging era right now when it comes to physical education and basic athletic development. That's what the First Down program is about, to introduce players into the system, and then CFL Futures builds on top of that. But the LTAD is the base of that, and I think getting kids in through the flag program will give us numbers to work with. I think the flag football is as accessible as soccer. And I think that's where the future growth numbers are. And then something like a six-man program at an intermediate age allows for that crossover for those who want to engage or have the mindset to engage in contact football. I think that in this country, we've had some great stories of some late adopters. David Onyemata comes to mind as a late adopter. Wanders into Coach Dobie's office and says, "Hey, my friends tell me I should play football." And watching like David had to develop as a football player at the university level, where he was just so big and physical in his first year, he could make things happen even though he had no idea where he was on the field. And in the second year, he was kind of going to where he was and still making plays. And then in his third year, he was there, right? We're in a position where we have late adopters in that kind of developmental room that you guys are throwing into at the university level. What I'm saying is to grow the game at the grassroots, we got to start way earlier. And as adherents to contact football, we have to embrace flag as the gateway into the game.